This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
We're gonna do it, you guys. We're gonna talk about Megyn Kelly and apparently the rampant jealousy that she's feeling for Dr. Jill Biden. I'm Brittany Page. I'm filling in for Jesse Dollemore while he fills in for David Pakman over on David Pakman's channel. So if you're missing Jesse D, and I'm sure that you are, feel free to go and watch him over there as he does the full David Pakman show every day this week. But I'm happy you're here. I'm happy that you're joining me because we're going to talk about Megyn Kelly. Now, you may remember Megyn Kelly. She was a Fox News commentator, host of her own show. And she left Fox News to be the next Oprah on NBC. That's what she wanted to do. She had a daytime talk show, and she was also trying to do a version of a 60 Minutes on the weekends where she was interviewing Alex Jones and giving him a platform on NBC. So she ended up leaving NBC because she felt so strongly about blackface that she just couldn't resist defending it during her show. And so now she's on YouTube and Twitter, obviously, and she decided to just attack Dr. Jill Biden, the wife of President Joe Biden, with this tweet. Announcers for the Eagles 49ers game just spotted the First Lady in a box and, of course, call her Dr. Jill Biden. Wonder if she realizes what a wannabe she looks like, insisting on this fake title. Get a real MD or just work on your self-esteem. Yeah, you insecure loser, work on your self-esteem. This is one way, I guess, to encourage people to improve their self-esteem is to shame them, attack them, and talk about how insecure and sad and pathetic they are. That's the Megyn Kelly way, I guess, to help people work on their self-esteem and feel better about themselves. So I didn't know anything about Jill Biden's education history, so I went to look it up, and it's actually really fascinating and extensive. Reading about her educational history, she started at a community college, I believe, for a semester, and then she dropped out and transferred to a four-year university. She ended up getting a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and her PhD in 2007. So she's continued to be working on her education in what seems like an ongoing process throughout her life. And sometimes she was only taking 1 class a semester, like so many people do, because she was juggling other obligations like being a parent and couldn't take a full course load in a semester. So she went back to get her PhD in 2007 with a dissertation on student retention at the community college, meeting students' needs. So she's passionate about community college. She continues to work in community college. In her career, she taught at a psych hospital. She taught remedial writing. She has a passion for instilling confidence in students returning to school and a passion for community college students in particular. I went to community college, so I appreciate this about Dr. Jill Biden, someone who starts at community college. Typically, people who go to community college are from disadvantaged backgrounds. Maybe they can't afford to go to college, or they have to work full-time and prioritize paying their bills before they are able to really work on a full-time caseload in college. So it's interesting that Megyn Kelly decides to attack Dr. Jill Biden for this because there's value in this work, in her education, in what she's done with her life. But with the anti-intellectualism that we see in the Republican Party, it's not surprising that Megyn Kelly's jealousy just boiled over and she had to make a video on YouTube attacking Dr. Jill Biden.
Dr. Jill likes us to call her doctor, no matter the setting, you see, because it clearly makes her feel important. How sad. You would think that a woman of her age and status would not need to hear an academic title repeated everywhere before her name is said in order to feel worthy. But she clearly does because she has it said everywhere. They've been pushing this from Team Biden, Joe Biden, and Jill Biden for years now. In every press release, in every appearance they make sure you refer to her as Dr. Jill Biden, even if she's not doing or saying anything at all. To the point that even the football announcers on CBS News know we need to say it. If we're going to mention her, we've got to make sure we mention her properly at this testosterone-filled sporting event. Even the sports announcers know that's what you have to say.
Oh, it's so sad. You wouldn't think a woman of her age and status would need to have her title repeated everywhere that she goes. Well, first of all, I don't know that I accept this premise that like Jill Biden is going around pinning people down and saying, you need to use my title. I mean, that seems far-fetched. I don't know what evidence she has of this. Megyn Kelly says she's interviewed her before and she asked that her title be used. That seems acceptable. I mean, she has a doctor of education. She wants her degree to be recognized. Let's say that she does want to be called doctor everywhere she goes. She has a doctorate. It's a doctor of education degree. We can, as people, as thinking people, distinguish between people who have a PhD and people who have a medical degree. And when you talk to someone, or when you know about Dr. Jill Biden's biography and her education history, you know that she's not a medical doctor. And I understand people that work for years, a decade of education with their bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, all that hard work, they want to be recognized for their title. And that seems to make sense. But let's have Megyn Kelly continue with her attack on Dr. Jill Biden.
And let's face it, she's not a real doctor. We all know it. Real doctors go to college for 4 years and med school for another 4, and then internship and residency and fellowship, and then they take several boards, and they have people's lives in their hands. That's who we know as doctor. When you say doctor, that's what we think of. Fake doctors like Dr. Jill, who insist everyone call them doctor all the time, live in academia for a few years after college and then run around trying to glob on to the respect and admiration we have for medical doctors. That's the truth. I am fine calling Dr. Jill if she wants me to. I've done it when meeting her in person, when I interviewed her and her husband at NBC, just like I have for any PhD who wants me to mention their title or whose academic achievement is relevant to our interview or their appearance on my show. But she's the first person I have met who actually wants to be called doctor everywhere and in any context. Now, I got nothing against PhDs. My dad was a PhD in education, like her. He taught PhD students. My dad hated it when people called him Dr. Kelly. He insisted that his students call him Professor Kelly, and he would never have wanted somebody outside of the university context to call him doctor or professor. She wants it everywhere.
Doctors do all this work for years, and they have people's lives in their hands, so they deserve our respect. Right, Megyn Kelly? Apparently not right, because one of Megyn Kelly's favorite people to attack online is Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has decades of experience. I mean, hundreds of publications. I don't know how many research publications he's been involved in, but it's a lot, and it's an extensive career in public health and improving the lives of other people. And she has called Dr. Fauci a villain. And she continues to promote anti-vax ideas. She continues to tweet anti-vax ideas, continues to have people on and platform them with her YouTube channel that are anti-vax. So we're supposed to believe that she's attacking Dr. Jill Biden for not being a medical doctor because she has such reverence for medical doctors. No, she doesn't. This is all anti-intellectualism, even though Megyn Kelly is educated herself. And we're going to get to that right now because I want you to actually watch Megyn Kelly, who's not a doctor, not a medical doctor, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. She's going to diagnose what she believes is Dr. Jill Biden's inferiority complex.
Clearly, she has got an inferiority complex to the husband. She has said as much. That's why she even got her doctorate to begin with. She wanted to feel important. And now we all have to participate in this fiction that she's a doctor, as we understand that word. Whoopi Goldberg fell for it. She once said that she should be the Surgeon General. So dumb. I'm a doctor too, Whoopi. I'm a doctor. I actually am a doctor. I'm a Juris Doctor, which I guarantee was harder to get than her doctorate, though I have never in my life asked people to call me doctor, and any lawyer who ever did that would be mocked to high heaven. It's so typical of the left these days. We have to use the exact words that they tell us to, or we are being disrespectful. We have to engage in their fantasies about themselves, whether it's the men who are now women and the pronouns have to be said and words like field and rule of thumb have to be banned and, oh, just shut up. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do any of that. But I will, when Dr. Jill Biden comes on this show, introduce her by her title of choice. However, I will judge her a little and think she's kind of needy in a way that's unbecoming.
Inferiority complex to the husband. She even makes it sound official, like you would find it in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual that people in my profession, licensed therapists, use to actually give diagnoses. That's not in there, but you know. She wants to feel important. That's what Megyn Kelly says, that Dr. Jill Biden wants to feel important. Megyn Kelly, you heard, is a Juris Doctor. She's an attorney, and she said that she guarantees that degree is harder to get than the one that Dr. Jill Biden has. And I want to compare just the education history that we see here. So a Juris Doctor, average of 3 years. So you get your bachelor's degree, that tends to be 4 years, and then you can go to law school, and that tends to be an average of 3 years. We're talking 7 years, okay? We're going to do a little math. 7 years, okay? Now, if you get a PhD like Dr. Jill Biden did as a doctor of education, or in my field of psychology, clinical psychology, social psychology, or let's say something like public policy, it tends to be an average of 4 years to get your PhD. Now that varies. It can be like 4 to 5 years, okay? So let's say you go to school, you get your bachelor's degree, and then you want to go and get your PhD. So you're deciding 4 or 5 more years. Well, if you have a master's degree, it's going to be 4 more years in the PhD. If you don't have a master's degree, it's going to be 5 years to get the PhD, okay? So let's talk about my own experience. I started at community college, went and got my bachelor's, 4 years, okay? So we got 4 years. Then I went and got my Master of Science in Clinical Psychology. That was a 3-year program, okay? So I'm at 7 years, tied with Megyn Kelly. Ooh, it's a tie, you guys. Here we go. I do eventually want to get my PhD, so I'm looking at an additional 4 to 5 years on top of 7 years of education. Jill Biden is in the same situation, by the way. She has the 4-year degree and 2 master's degrees. She beats me, since this is all a competition for Megyn Kelly. And then she has a doctorate degree. We're talking about over a decade of education with Dr. Jill Biden. That's what we're talking about, more than a decade. So quickly before we move on from this, because this is all ridiculous, all anti-intellectualism, I just want to quickly juxtapose Megyn Kelly's tone throughout this video with the ad at the end for olive oil.
Whether it's the men who are now women and the pronouns have to be said and words like field and rule of thumb have to be banned and, oh, just shut up. Like many people, I am trying to eat healthier, and that is why I love good olive oil.
Yeah, you guys, shut up. But wait and listen to this olive oil that I really enjoy. Now, I'm not going to hate on her for doing ads. Content creators need to get paid, especially ones that lose their job at NBC for defending blackface. But the main point here is that education is important. Education is valuable. People work hard in this country to find their passions, to work in fields that they find rewarding, that will make their life meaningful, and to denigrate that, to denigrate someone's work that is meaningful to them or that helps them improve society, like in the case of Dr. Jill Biden, is insulting. And it's also, I guess, just comical to listen to someone say to another person that they should work on their self-esteem while at the same time describing them as insecure, weak, and fake. So there's also that. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call 714-576-4054, or you can send an email to daily@dollemore.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to Jesse's channel here. It really helps the algorithm. And you may have heard from David Pakman that the algorithm has been giving him some trouble. That has been even for Jesse's channel. So liking, subscribing, commenting, all of those things that help the algorithm, help the channel be exposed to other people. And hey, you can find me on YouTube as well at my own channel by searching my name or clicking in the link below to subscribe. And I would love to see you there. Thank you. And as Jesse would say, be genuine and take care of one another.